Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of the Cardboard Cave podcast. And before anything, we want to thank you all because we have reached 100 subscribers, or actually 101 subscribers on our YouTube channel, and we are very close to 2,000. I think it's 2,300 followers on TikTok. So if you have not yet followed us, go ahead, hit that follow and or subscribe button. That you guys can be up to date with anything and everything Magic the Gathering related, and as well our content. And thank you very much for all of your support. And as well, we want to mention to you guys that every Monday and every Friday there will be a new video for you here in the Cardboard Cave podcast. So a lot of content is coming your way, and it's going to be great content for you guys. Even collaborations that we did with a couple of MTG community from TikTok. So super excited about that. Today, it's going to be a great night because today we are going to be talking about the new set previews, and as well, we will be talking about if there is a need, of a Nadu band. So let's go ahead and bring all of our hosts to the table. And here we go, our favorite #1 nominated director, Orengo.
Wepa, hi. Ready to talk about delicious new spoilers because every day spoiler season.
Yes, I agree. Yes. I agree. Well, I have a question for you guys in regards to that. And then, guys, we are going to present to you the Master of the Dark Arts, the one and only JP.
Or in this case, the Foolish Arts. I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite cards I've seen in a while. It's so fun.
I didn't think that you were going to like that card so much.
I don't know. It's about the art, what it does. It's just so janky. Like, I'm not a jank. I don't tend to play jank, but it's just so like the jank is so good.
So, guys, before we start with the previews, obviously, for everybody that is going to be watching us, we do touch upon mostly the rares and some of the uncommons or commons if they are like juicy cards that are relevant probably in the standard metagame or any other format. But we will touch upon like our favorite cards and cards that have been previewed. If you guys want to know more details or thoughts of a specific card or anything, just write it in the comments below. Like that, we can go ahead and probably make a short TikTok or reel just for you guys so that we can talk about that card. But guys, do you guys think, being the fact that this set was still not in preview season, they leaked, I think was around 2 to 3 cards. Thanks to those leaks, they went ahead and previewed a couple of cards, and then out of the blue, in a Japan event, they went ahead and previewed cards from a further set. There's the horror set from Magic the Gathering. Do you guys think that this is something that Wizard of the Coast has already had planned, or do you think because they are worried that their product is not selling as it used to before?
I feel like this is just an oops, but also a marketing strategy, if you could view it in two ways. And this all started because the Japanese Twitter for some like a promotion deal through Dustmorn spoilers, and everyone just believed that they were like, oh wait, you're supposed to throw the Bloomburrow spoilers instead of Dustmorn. Which, by the way, saying those two names in a row is a mouthful.
Yes.
But Bloomburrow is the next set, and then Dustmorn is the other set. And it's just to create hype. They always do previews very early. So, hype sells packs.
What do you think about that, Orengo? Do you have any other thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of agree with JP. It's all about perpetual hype. They're just trying to churn out product as fast as they can. And if a product doesn't sell well, they don't care because they already got all the product out there to the distributors, and it's the distributors' problem to kind of like sell that to the LGSs or Targets or Walmarts or just dump it in a landfill.
But
So yeah, this doesn't
honestly,
surprise me.
I kind of feel like last year was worse. I feel like didn't we have like the Commander Masters, but we also had Lord of the Rings, but we also had the other standard sets, and in between all of that, a lot more secret layers. I feel like they've toned down the secret layers, and only recently do we feel the fatigue because we had Outlaws, then Modern Horizons 3, and now Bloomborough. This like small this trimester has been very, very jam packed with sets.
And
But
we
I
still
feel like
got
no,
Magic Foundations too.
we still obviously yes, I
Mhm.
understand that like it started like on almost the second half of the year, where we've been back to back to back to back to back on the stuff. I didn't really feel the fatigue January, February, March, April, May. I started like, oh wait, we just finished Modern Horizons 3 and we know about Dustmorn.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
Modern
I
Horizons
feel
3, Assassin's Creed, Bloomborough, the set the set you just said, the standard set, and then Dustmorn.
I'd have to check.
Yeah.
Recently, it feels like it's a lot in a row. But for the most part, it felt like a good pace, and then everything at once.
So I'm looking here at a schedule of the stuff they've released this year. So it's been Ravnica Remaster was in January, then
Yeah.
Murders was in February, then Fallout was in March, then Outlaws was in April, then Modern Horizons was in June. July we had Assassin's Creed, then we have it August, we have Bloomborough, then Dustmorn, we have it in Q3 2024, and then there's a Pioneer Masters, which I didn't even know. And that's without including the
There's a Pioneer
Magic
Masters.
Foundations one. So what I noticed here, and I guess the reason why we don't feel the fatigue is that it's a lot of supplementary products taking every other month. And since Fallout was just a bunch of decks, it didn't feel that egregious. And Assassin's Creed, no one cared. So that one kind of passed by too. So that's why it wasn't like a lot of impactful sets. I feel that you're right. Last year felt more jam packed, but I think it's because most of the sets felt more impactful in some ways.
Mm-hmm. I
Okay,
agree.
I can agree with that.
I agree. We can go ahead because actually I thought there were like a couple of previews, but in Scryfall we have a couple. We can I think that we can touch upon the easier ones, I would say, because they don't have that many cards. So I'm gonna let me put them in a different order because I know that for Bloomborough we have a couple of dates. So let's go ahead and present the first card here from Bloomborough. That it's one of the special guest cards of the set is that we're going to be having Sword of Fire and Ice is going to be a special guest on Bloomborough's set. Do you guys think how many swords have we gotten for special guest? Is this the first one? No, it's not the
Well,
first
we
one.
technically got the Sword of Feast and Famine with
Assassin's Creed, yeah.
So there's that. And then now we have the Sword of Fire and Ice. I'm not sure we've gotten any other swords recently.
Yeah,
I
the
don't think
Assassin's
so.
Creed ones, they're gonna be more mass produced than this one. So this one, I don't know if it's going to like lower the price of the Sword of Fire and Ice.
Because this is a proper special guest. And
Yeah, this is a special guest.
The Sword of Feast and Famine wasn't a special guest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
From
And it looks pretty.
Like from
It
what
looks
I've
pretty.
seen, Universe Beyond sets don't bring special guest cards.
Oh, wait, yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. That is true. Let me change the settings of the screen share like that. I don't have to like stop every chance that I need to get. Boop. It's much more easier like this. Boop. There we go. Okay, so the other thing that they presented it that they presented it as well as previews were the commanders or commander cards. So obviously the first on June 28th, when we're saying goodbyes to June, we got Jace the Mind Sculptor, and then from there on July 9th, that was yesterday, we had a couple of cards. That some of them are reprints, but obviously with the design of Bloomborough, because Bloomborough is in the world of I don't know.
It's Bloomborough. Bloomborough is the world of Bloomborough, but
Yeah, I was
it's in the
thinking. I was
style of
thinking of
in
somebody
the
of a
style of
movie.
Redwall.
I know that there's a movie. I think that there is an animated, like an old animated film that it's like this, like squirrels
A bunch of
and
different
rabbits.
cartoons are like this.
Yeah. So let's go ahead. If you guys want to go ahead and do some of them, if you guys are interested in talking about this, we do have a couple of like reprints on these decks that we can talk about them. We talked about Jace, so we have two Jaces here. We have one here with a different. I think that this is the showcase. I would say,
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, yeah.
and then we have
The
the
first one,
borderless.
the bellow that you have is kind of interesting. We can
Bello is
skin it.
like those are the face commanders for
Mm-hmm.
Bloomborough. Would you like to talk about it, Oringo?
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool. So it's a Gruul commander. It's colorless and Gruul colors. Legendary creature, raccoon bard. So 3/3. So during your turn, each non-equipment artifact and non-aura enchantment you control with mana value 4 or greater is a 4/4 elemental creature in addition to its other types, and it has indestructible haste. And whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So it's kind of like an inverse enchantress, and that's kind of dope. So I kind of dig the card a lot.
You
I
want
like it.
big stuff.
I like it. I like it. My unwinding clock is a 4/4 elemental creature,
Indestructible.
indestructible haste. And when it hits you, I draw a card. I like it.
And it's very, very Gruul because you like if you want to draw, you have to smack someone in the face.
Yeah. No, I love it.
I like the idea of having this care about artifacts and enchantments in a different way than other decks have been doing it in just normal Magic. Also, a key thing is that whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card is attached to the creature, not to Bellow. Because usually, when we have this type of effect, it's whenever one or more creatures creatures deal damage to a player, draw a card. So if I just smack you with 5/4/4s, I'm going to draw 5 cards. It doesn't have to be one per player, like how they usually try to balance it. So the real balance is the unique mana value 4 or greater. But other than that, you can just smack people with this and just draw a bunch of cards.
Wow. I'm thinking of like cards that you can use for this, and and this sounds like fun.
I mean, you have all the ramp in the world, so you just
Yeah.
put a bunch of juicy, expensive enchantments that kind of like
I'm
stacks
just
the
thinking-
board, or artifacts that stack the board, and just have fun.
I'm just
Mhm.
thinking the affinity for artifacts, like beefy creatures or anything with affinity for artifacts, and you just slam. That happens to be like a Frogmite becomes a 4/4 because he doesn't say a non-creature. It just says
that's true.
non-equipment artifact.
Oh. Oh.
So your Frogmite
Yup.
becomes a 4/4. The Salamander thing with affinity, I think that's already a 4/4. And now it draws you cards and it's indestructible and has haste.
Jesus.
Like, that's a key thing. You don't really care that it happens to be a creature. You could use that to your advantage. So something with a smaller body but a high mana value can become a big body.
Wow, I didn't think it that way, but damn,
Yep. It's fun. It's fun, and
it's
I
fun.
like I like the design space in this.
I want to talk about Miss Bumbleflower.
Miss
So
Bumbleflower.
yeah, Miss and the Jeskai one is really broken. So Miss Bumbleflower, one green, white, and blue for a legendary creature, Rapid Citizen. She has Vigilance. She's a 1/5, and she says, whenever you cast a spell, target opponent draws a card. Put a +1 counter on target creature. It gains flying until end of turn. If this is the second time this ability has resolved this turn, you draw 2 cards. So I really want to talk about this card because on Twitter, the designer for this card is a really big fan of Kawain, the blue-white rabbit that taps to draw everyone cards.
Mm-hmm.
And she wanted to make so I'm going to keep mistaking it's a she. If she wanted to make a group hug deck, but like a proper group hug deck, not a I don't have any win conditions. I'm just gonna make everyone ramp and have a billion cards and then lose anyways. No, no, no. Everyone playing against this deck said, "Oh yeah, I feel like I'm being smothered with a hug. Like it's
Oh.
just too much." So I'm really excited to see what's in the deck. Miss Bumbleflower herself is decent. I mean, a counter and then two cards. So you loot. So you play 2 cards. You're gonna get a counter and 2 cards. You're gonna replace those 2 cards that you used. So I just find this interesting.
I find it
Also,
interesting.
it's end of turn. One thing end of turn. It's only per turn.
Okay.
So in the next turn, you could do that again. If you can find cast 2 spells each turn, you're going through your deck really quickly. I just find this interesting.
It has a lot of politicking involved because it says
Mhm.
target opponent draws a card, but you can put a 1/1 counter on target creature. So if you're doing something on the opponent's turn, you draw, I don't know, like you did an opt, right? You draw a card. You're like, okay, so you're gonna draw a card, and then this guy's gonna he's gonna smack you because I'm putting a 1/1 counter on that creature, and he's gonna attack you, and you kind of like mess with the whole board,
Yeah,
and you kind of screw them over because you can just play around with these buffs you kind of have. And if you kind of like cast another spell at the end of the turn after everyone just destroyed each other, you draw 2 cards, which is super fun.
Yeah, I agree.
the next card should be yeah,
Hazel of Root Bloom. I'll read it. Hazel of Root Bloom is 2 black and green legendary creature squirrel druid. You can tap Hazel, pay 2 life, tap X untapped tokens you control, add X mana of any combination of color. At the beginning of your end step, create a token that's a copy of target token you control. If that token is a squirrel, instead create 2 tokens that are copies of it and is a 3/5. It has catchphrase. He says, "May all your catches be full." I like it. Sounds
uh,
like fun.
someone said about attaching Helm of the Host with this, making a copy and just trying to make copies of copies of copies of copies. That's interesting, I guess, but I'm not too high on this one, honestly.
I think
There's a lot of versatility with this because
yeah.
you can make it a strictly like a squirrel token deck, or you can just make it like a token deck, and you're gonna get a lot of value out of that. It could just be like random assortment of tokens. You could just have blood, food, whatever. They all tap for mana,
Yeah,
and then you can start making tokens of squirrels if you have it, or you just do the Helm of the Host thing idea, and it gets crazy real fast.
yeah, I can see how it could get. It just doesn't.
You can
It doesn't do anything like weird and interesting for something that I would enjoy.
The other thing that you can do is just play the artifact Masswood Nexus, make everything a squirrel, and
Two copies of
everything can be copied for 2. You know, because
I get JP's point. It's generically good, but it's not unique.
exactly. Yeah, it's not unique. It does what squirrels do, make tokens. It's what it does, literally. So JP wanted to talk about the last face commander.
Yeah, and also the next one because
Yeah, and also the next one.
I clearly really like him. Zinnia Valley's Voice, blue, red, white, so 3 mana for a legendary bird bard. Flying. Zinnia Valley's Voice gets +X+0, where X is the number of other creatures you control with base power 1. Creature spells you cast have Offspring 2. Offspring is a new mechanic where you pay a certain amount of mana and you get a copy of the creature, except it's a 1/1 token copy of it.
So it's not Offspring, it's Kicker.
Kinda.
It's kind of like Squad too, a little bit.
Yes.
But it's still Kicker.
But it's 1/1s. They're always 1/1s.
It feels like a Magic Arena mechanic, to be honest.
If you're gonna do the kicker argument, every mechanic is kicker to a certain extent. Escalate kicker, choose multiple modes kickers. Okay. Anyways, people are talking about this because a lot of creature tutors happen to go crazy with this. Because someone mentioned you Imperial Recruiter Offspring it, make 2 1/1s, look for Dockside and Shrieking Drake. Play Dockside, you can Offspring it if you have enough mana. Play Shrieking Drake, Offspring that, and go get infinite mana, infinite 1/1s, infinite. Once you have infinite 1/1s and infinite mana, you can use the Shrieking Drake to bounce the Imperial Recruiter, play the Imperial Recruiter, Offspring it again, and look for something like Spellseeker to get a Final Fortune. Win the next turn.
Okay.
And you with the Spellseeker, you could also just look for a counter spell just in case.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said there's a Spellseeker line that's very inefficient, but it exists, and I can't remember what it was. Where you play Spellseeker, Offspring it, and look for, I think, Ephemerate and something else. And you just go off with that. Recruiter of the Guard and Imperial Recruiter function as the same thing. Spellseeker has a line. I'm pretty sure there's other creature tutors that have lines, and someone outlined that this has like 5 different lines to go infinite. And it's just mana intensive. But people were like, whoa, this is kind of interesting. And they were comparing it to the new core wizard from I'm pretty sure it was the last set that had, not Assassin's Creed. I think it was one of the commander decks for Modern Horizons 3 that had, you could just demonstrate a card and make someone else copy it, and then you can make a copy anyways. If you slot that into this deck, the deck goes crazy.
I'm intrigued.
It's very strong.
It has a lot of interesting combos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree on that. That's true. So let's go ahead and talk about JP's favorite card.
Yeah, for now, it's been one of my favorite cards. Flubs the Fool. Talking about interesting cards. Green, blue, red for a legendary creature frog scout. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell, draw a card if you have no cards in hand. Otherwise, discard a card. And he's a 0/5, which is very important for something. Because I find it very very funny that if you the song where you go, if you're gonna be dumb, you gotta be tough. This is exactly that. So you want to be hellbent. You can play additional lands. If you find ways to look at the top of your library and get to play those cards, something like Future Sight, the Reality Chip, or Oracle of Moldaya, you can play the lands from the top of your deck, draw a card. You could play another land and maybe discard that card. The card you discard could have Jumpstart or Flashback or Madness. If it has the Madness cards, you can cast it again. So you can cast it from because you discarded it. You want to get rid of your hand as quickly as possible, so you want to play like foretell, plot, and there's another mechanic I'm forgetting right now. That just you just get the cards out of your hand. You want to play impulse draw cards, so they're never in your hand. So you get to exile the top cards and just keep on going. This is effectively a storm deck because every card you draw could either go to the graveyard or draw you another card. And I just feel like once you could just, well, I'm just going off anyways. Might as well just slot in an Underworld Breach, go off even harder. Because then you cast 2 spells. The first one you draw, the second one makes you discard the card and fuel the Underworld Breach anyways. The deck.
You stick stuff like LED. This goes nuts too. Like,
People said LED. This, yeah, I understand. This goes crazy. But
yeah, this card can go crazy.
Brain
The question is, does it win?
LED, well, that's where you're wrong. Except you're right. You do a bunch of stuff. How do you win? I have no idea. I haven't figured that part out yet.
That's because you're the fool when you play the commander.
Oh yeah, this is a Christopher deck.
JP.
Don't you know this is a Christopher deck?
Yes,
there you go.
Play your deck, do everything, waste everyone's time, and then lose anyways. We love you,
because remember, Chris, he knows exactly where he's going and exactly how he isn't getting there.
Yeah.
I can see him playing this deck, getting very excited. First game he plays, like, guys, I'm sorry, but I'm almost there. I'm gonna win. Don't worry. I swear, I'm gonna win. Give me a second. I almost got the combo set up.
And then halfway through the deck, he's like, I forgot to put the card that can make me win. Oh god,
it's so fun though. Like, it's very again, interesting design space.
Yeah.
Love the art. The art is amazing.
This is wait, this is a buy a box promo.
Yeah, this is the buy a box.
That is the buy a box promo. Yes.
Oh, okay, that is the buy a box promo. That I love it. You know, it's fun. So in the Commanders, we will have a couple of reprints. We have a reprint of Shatterfang Squirrel General that is going to be available in the deck, I imagine. And as well, like all of the past sets, the Commanders will have on the, I imagine that on the collector boosters and in the play boosters, you will have a chance to pull the full art, the borderless, and the showcase. So you'll have a chance to have either one if you, and obviously the normal one that will be available in the Commander deck. We do have another reprint that will be Liliana of the Dark Realm. I really do like the showcase art one. It looks pretty cool. We have Nisa, who shakes the world, and we have Tamio, Field Researcher. So it's really cool that we're seeing a couple of reprints. Jace in Commander decks, interesting. Jace the Bind Sculptor. Do you think how expensive is Jace nowadays?
He's like a $10 card.
He's like a $10 card, right?
Yeah, at max.
Wow.
Yeah. How
the mighty have fallen.
Exactly. How the mighty have fallen. So, very quickly, to touch bases on it, we don't have to go on detail fully. So we do have Foundation, that it's going to be this set that is going to last 5 years in Standard. So basically, Foundation is created like that. If you are a person that is interested in Standard, these cards can help you out to build like a deck, or to have at least access to like good cards for the Standard meta. And they will be I don't know how did they announce how they're gonna sell these? Are these going to be like a box, or
there's a couple of ways they're gonna sell it. So there's, I believe, boosters, but there's like boxes. There's like a beginner's box, and there's like a sort of intermediate advanced box that you get. And you get, I don't know if it's full play sets of it, but you get like a hefty amount of cards. since their cards are not going to rotate for the next 5 years, it's essentially replacing again the idea of the core set, which Wizards has always struggled for like a decade plus with how they're going to manage the core set. I think this is an interesting idea. It might be problematic for game design in the future because they have to take into account these cards for the next 5 years, and I don't know if they're capable of doing that.
When I saw the announcement for this, I like the idea because it's a way that you can help like new people to get into the game, right? I agree with you because imagine from here this releases this year, right?
Yeah, this year.
So 2029, it will be the 5-year mark. So in 2029, they have to move. These cards are not going to be playable, and then they have to do a new set if they're going to continue with this.
In theory, yes.
In theory, wow. I don't know, Wizard of the Coast. You do you, boo boo.
I guess the good thing is they have like what 30 years of game design knowledge. So I'm assuming that Foundations stuff like Lana War Elves isn't gonna break decks, right? Same with Omniscience in theory, unless something broken comes in like 2 years time and it makes it super viable, like a Golos or something. But stuff like that theoretically shouldn't break decks. They're just gonna be a good foundation, for like their decks. So
now imagine what now then they put these cards like a base. Oh yeah, this is what we're gonna bring to you, and then they start reprinting broken cards.
Yeah, I hope not. I mean, I'm assuming it's, again, stuff like, I don't know, negate is gonna be here, like, you know, basic stuff like that. I guess it's a way to circumvent the idea of having to print core sets every other year, and that we're kind of dabbling with core sets for a while. Then they stopped again. So
I just want to say to the comment you said that they have 30 years of design space to work with. That's what they say for like League of Legends. Then they say like a 200-year champion comes around and it's a new champion that breaks the game. They have the collective amount of like between all the devs in the game, like at least 200 years of experience, and they still manage to break the game and design broken stuff constantly. The difference is in League of Legends, they could just nerf a champion. It's difficult to nerf a card without outright just banning it. Erratas aren't as common as they could be, although they shouldn't be.
I mean, they can always just ban the cards. What I'm saying is, like, I can't see a world where Lana War Elves becomes banned in Standard because it's too strong.
Oh, yeah.
They could just balance it a little bit, I guess.
Well, if there was a time where Elves were broken, but that was a long time ago in Standard. You remember that it was it was turn 1 Elvish Mystic, turn 2 you would play the 5-3 or 5-4 Elvish champion.
It was the first time we went to Dominaria, so Elf Ball was a thing there, but it wasn't broken to the point that they got a ban Lana War Elves. You know what I mean? Like,
oh no,
I understand JP's point. It's true. Like, we cannot deny the stupidity that Wizard of the Coast and R&D can come up with. But I'm thinking that they're gonna put like essentially safe cards and put stuff like I said, negate, lightning strike. Like, it'll be their little set to put like the stuff they usually put in a core set.
Yeah,
and maybe dabble with stuff like that Anthem you see there, the Anthem of Champions and stuff like that. They're gonna play around with it a little bit, but I don't think they're gonna like put something ridiculously powerful. Like, say, remember when they did a core set and they printed the Ugin?
Oh yeah, I remember.
I doubt they'll do something like that again.
That Ugin didn't actually impact Standard though.
No,
that was a surprising card.
But if you have an Omniscience and that Ugin, now we're cooking.
I'd say the more problematic thing was like I hope they don't do another Nexus of Fate. That was in a core set, if you're not mistaken. Like, if I'm not mistaken.
That was in a core set.
That was in a core set. So that's why I assume if the name implies Foundations, it will be like literally. I know that the Foundations because it's going to be 5 years, but I'm assuming the other meaning could be that it's like essential cards that they always tested in Standard for the last 30 years, and they know they're just like they're stuff to like help round out a deck, like a negate, like a Lana War Elves, in theory.
Yeah. yeah. I get that. I get it.
Nexus of Fate was core set 19.
Yeah, ridiculous. They put it as a buy box. They're like,
Yeah.
it's 7 mana. No one's gonna play with it
No one's
except
gonna
it's an
play it.
instant and it goes back to your deck. But no one's gonna play with that.
Then everyone made like the blue green fog deck, and games would last.
Jesus,
Oh yeah,
yes.
because there's like 12 fogs in standard at the moment, and you can just play fogs and draw everyone out.
Yeah, and there were fogs that you could cycle and they would still do the same effect.
The Haze of Pollen, then the other one.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was crazy. So jumping in to House of Horrors, these are the cards that they previewed in Japan, and then they just started like uh smashing in Wizard of the Coast. I don't know. I think that we're gonna save this probably for another video because these are quite a couple of cards, and some of them are really interesting. Um, I do like the fact that they have different foiling. In this case, we do have like textured foil. We have the sparkly foil,
You
and
got like Pokemon confetti foil.
exactly the
It
Pokemon confetti foil.
kind of feels very Yu-Gi-Oh esque to an extent.
I was not gonna say it because last time I spoke about Yu-Gi-Oh in our podcast, people ranted in the comments in TikTok.
It's Yu-Gi-Oh. It's Yu-Gi-Oh now. This is Yu-Gi-Oh. It's getting close to Yu-Gi-Oh. If they keep making a lot of free spells, it's gonna become Yu-Gi-Oh.
Hey, I don't mind they're experimenting with alternate arts in as long as like the main arts are always very well established and welcome. But I don't mind that they experiment with other arts.
Oh, that's fair. I agree. I don't know about the whole thing about having TVs and Magic. Again, there's always this one set every couple of years that kind of like breaks my brain a little, and now it's having TVs and Magic.
To be fair, I really don't mind. My bad. I really don't mind the fact that they want to like expand the horizon in Magic, even though we are expanding a lot with Universe Beyond because of all these sets like Assassin's Creed, Doctor Who, Warhammer. They are technically speaking inside the world of Magic the Gathering, even though they don't touch the lore. But being the fact that they want to like include other like these, I think that me and Orengo spoke about it in an episode. Wizard of the Coast, stop doing these sets that have like a story that does not connect with the other thing. Because again, we would like to see, at least this is me, I would like to see a very nice story. And I'm going to touch on a set that I would like for it to have a block. I would like to see an Ikoria block. Have a set, I don't know, Return to Ikoria, something like that. Very, very simple and whatever. And then the next set is like, I don't know, the ancient thingy majingy inside a Korea, and then that like concludes the story, and we go to another block of Magic, and that block has 3 sets. I want that back again. That you have like a full story inside a set, and then probably make a big connection like it used to be, because before War of the Sparks, we had a lot of lore behind War of the Sparks, even though the books were bad, except the first one. The first one was pretty good, but the other one, we're not going to get into that. So let's go ahead and
continue with Bloomberg.
And continue to what we're actually going to be talking about. This Bloomborough, and we're gonna be talking about a bird, a very interesting bird. Okay, so Bloomborough, the preview started on July. Well, actually, they started on June 28th. A little bit much more further than that. February 23 is like when they presented the set. They presented a couple of basic lands. They are the mountains. They presented a couple of other cards. And if you guys didn't know, Lumra, Below of the Woods, is the same artist that brought you the OG Charizard from base set. So we have a very, very elite artist on this set with a very interesting card as well. So Let's go ahead. Go to the first card. Whoever wants to take it and want
Uh,
to spread the love.
I can take that guy. So we have here another potential Gruul commander, even though he's like
Yes.
in the main set. Hugs, Grizzly Guardian, legendary creature, Badger Warrior, 5/5. He's an X to red and to green. Trample. He says, when Hugs Grizzly Guardian enters, exile the top X cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. It's like kind of JP said, this is just generically good, and in turn, it's kind of boring. But this per standard, I can see people playing this card. If you have like excess mana and you have nowhere else to dump it, you can probably get a lot of value out of it. You can play extra lands, so that's already good enough, even like in a baseline, because that's a static ability. So yeah, it's cool. This would be a very boring commander if I like come across from him in a table, because you should be like, oh, I pay like, I don't know, 10x. I'm just gonna cast everything. Oh, okay, sure, buddy. Like, that's fun. But
Yeah.
yeah,
This will be like your classic, like I play Oracle of Moldaja, I play Azusa. W- what's there is an enchantment as well that lets you play an additional land, if I'm not mistaken, right? Explore.
Dryad of the Arbor, I believe.
But Dryad of the Arbor, isn't that a creature land?
Sorry, you're right. The other Dryad, the one that is an enchant
Oh
creature.
yeah. The enchantment creature. Yeah, that one lets you play another land. Yeah, so yeah, this will be your typical, like, you will have a bunch of those and you'll be like, okay, I'll, like Orengo said, 10 or 12 or whatever, infinite. I exile the whole deck. And out of the blue, the card, I have 2 treasures and a Thassa and I win. I
Literally.
don't know.
Well, yeah, sure.
I don't know. It's a boring card. I'm not gonna say boring, but it's something that we are used to seeing already. So I'm gonna take this one because this one I'm actually really really intrigued about it. I don't know. Orengo is having a lot of fun drawing.
Well, you gotta make it on theme. Don't worry,
it,
JP's
it is.
coming
It is.
next.
JP's coming next. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna get the next card is Lania, Divergent Storm, 3 and blue, red, legendary creature, otter, wizard. Whenever you cast a spell, if it's the first instant spell, the first sorcery spell, or the first otter spell, other than Lania, you've cast this turn, you may have target opponent draw a card. If you do, copy that spell. You may choose a new target for the copy. It's a 3/5. This card, I like it. It sounds a lot of fun. I think it's too high costed. Probably for standard, maybe. I'm not gonna say that it's going to do a lot, but it has a really interesting ability. Why do I say this? Because in a sense, this card, the reason why I say it is in standard, sometimes standard goes to very mid-range decks. So you have a 5-drop here that you can actually go ahead if you have an opponent that it's probably, let's say, in a low life, and you cast lightning strike or any other burn spell that hits for 3, you can copy the spell and hit your opponent once again. Obviously, your opponent will draw a card. So I see this more as a mid-rangey deck. Now, I don't think so that this will be like a meta deck, but it sounds fun. For Commander now, again, for Commander, I don't know. I see it like chill. What do you guys think?
I guess as a like a commander per se, it's not that strong. It seems interesting if you stick it in like an otter deck, but I assume there's gonna be otters in other colors. I think there's some already spoiled that are different colors. I don't know, like it's cool in a commander setting because you can force someone that you're kind of helping out or whatever to draw a card, and then you can just screw someone else over with the copying of a spell. So it's kind of, you can play politics a little bit with the card.
Yeah.
But it's too heavily costed. It's 5 mana for a
Mm-hmm.
3/5, and then that first turn, you won't be able to cast your first otter spell. But when you cast your when you cast a spell, if it's your first, technically you can't cast another spell that same turn because that's an otter, and that was your first otter spell. Oh, other and the lean. Okay, perfect. So yeah, you can cast whatever the hell you want. So yeah, it's that's cool. You can kind of abuse it. The turn comes out. It's not amazing, but it's cute. Like if there's an otter that's like 5 color, you would probably stick this one in though.
I'm just thinking that she'll be good. Like it'll be good in limited. You play this, it's a 3/5 for a 5, so it has decent blocking stats. Then anything you cast afterwards, if it happens to manage to be in the condition of instant sorcery or otter, you could probably get a lot of benefit, even if you're making your opponent draw a card.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That's true. You get a lot of value. Yeah, especially if it's like a splashy spell or even like another otter, so you can have blockers. Yeah.
I completely agree. I really do. The other thing that I'm here interested is that it's $24.99 in the pre-sale 5.
It's a pre-sale card. Yeah. Those cards will drop really easily. Like
it's gonna drop like a rock.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, guys. Any of the other cards that you guys would like to talk about, like the Artist Talent or Beza, the Bounding Spring?
I haven't seen Artist Talent actually. Can I see Artist Talent? I didn't. Sure. I didn't actually see that one.
Go ahead. Read it, JP.
Okay. Artist Talent. One in a red. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if you may discard a card. If you do draw a card, that's pretty damn good. It has the level mechanics, so it's an enchantment class. So 2 in a red, level 2, non-creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, and 2 in a red to level 3. If a source you control will deal that non-combat damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage plus 2 instead. That's actually, I feel like 2 mana for an enchantment that does your first effect is worth it. Even bumping it up to level 2 is really worth it. I don't feel like I don't even care about level 3. I'm actually really surprised about this card.
This is good because of the discard and drawing, like in Storm decks, especially the Ruby Storm or something like that. I think they could slot right in, and just based on the first static ability, that's kind of crazy.
Like, yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a 2-mana enchantment this way. I really like it.
Yeah, I like it as well. I think, you know what would be interesting to see how mono red would be in this set. Again, the reason why I say it is because I play a lot of mono red, and but it looks really interesting. I do love level 2. Level 2 is like my favorite. Level 1. There's not level 1. Yeah, level 1 is whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may discard and draw. That's really nice. Every time you cast something, you can be able to discard like for instance, a land, being the fact that in standard is very, very common to be mana flooded. So I'm in it. And
it's very good because it's non-creature spell. So it's literally anything is not a creature. You can do enchantments, artifacts, planeswalkers, battles.
Exactly. Exactly. Orengo, you said that you wanted to talk about Beza?
Sure, it's interesting. It's an interesting card. So Beza, the Bounding Spring, 2 colors and 2 white, legendary creature elemental elk. It's a 4/5. When Beza, the Bounding Spring enters, create a treasure token if an opponent controls more lands than you. Gain 4 life if an opponent has more life than you. Create 2 1/1 bluefish creature tokens if an opponent controls more creatures than you, and draw a card if an opponent has more cards than you. So in terms of like standard, it's like that spell, and JP probably knows this spell. It's that spell that was like in standard a year or 2 back, I think, where you played it and you get bonuses based on the stuff that you don't have that the opponent has more than you. So same thing. So if opponent has more life, you gain life. If opponent has more creatures, you made a couple tokens. You get to draw if he had more cards in hand. I don't think the treasure one was part of that original spell. So having that on a
Timely
creature,
reinforcement. If you have less life than opponent, you gain 6 life. If you control fewer creatures than opponent, create 3/1 soldier creature tokens.
I think so. Yeah.
There's
So
one like that's like 2012 card, but I'm pretty sure there's other cards that do the same type of effect.
exactly. So I kind of dig it. It seems pretty cool. Even like if you made it like a commander, thinking now commander, white is very limiting, but this one kind of fixes a lot of the problems that white generally has, which is it's always behind. So having this is kind of cool. And then if you blink it, it's gonna be even more cool because you have 3 targets that you know every one of them is gonna help you meet all of these 4 conditions. So it's pretty interesting. It's like a very like just good stuff white because it's just gonna give you a lot of value just for being behind. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
I'm in
As
it.
someone who's actually been playing mono white and commander, I feel like this isn't it. I feel like it does a lot for 4 mana, being a 4/5, and if you're in a blinky strategy that also happens to want to be able to come back in like on use the comeback strategies that white has to offer, then sure. But for the most part, like my mono white deck is a blinky strategy that I rather just blink stuff that gains me life and draws me a card. There's like a few of those that do that, and if I just blink that enough, I can gain a bunch of life and draw the cards. Anyways, I feel like this wants to do too many things, and everything it wants to do is very good individually, but together it just feels like it falls flat. Even if it happens to activate all of them. But that's just maybe because I'm a bit biased at how well my commander deck had been working recently. I've been testing it a lot recently, and it's been doing very very well. So I might
That's
be
fair.
just a bit clouded
Hmm.
in my vision.
Okay, I get it. I get it. I get it. I think that I think that we need probably we need like something a little bit much more different or better for white. This is interesting. I'm not gonna lie. It's an interesting card. But being the fact that I think I'm gonna jump in with JP said. If you are like in a blink strategy, like using the unicorn that you can blink, that there's a strategy you can blink the unicorn like infinitely. It will be nice, and that's the fish token, the fish.
The powerful
Okay,
fish.
the
That
powerful
fish is
fish.
gonna be relevant. There's other cards that give fishes to the opponent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
I
Any other card? We're coming from here to here. Any card that you guys are interested in talking about?
Not particularly in this page. There's another card that's really interesting further up. There, fell,
Which one?
fell.
Oh, fell.
Yeah, they were talking about how they made a strictly better murder, and people are arguing like, well, it's sorcery speed. It's not strictly better. 2 mana
Mm-hmm.
is better than 3, but for the most part,
I agree.
in the Morrow spoilers, this was the card that everyone was like that he was saying that's oh yeah, this is better than normal.
It's technically better because it comes a turn early. Murder, sure, it
Mm-hmm.
has instant and it's 3 mana, but it comes a turn later. That's why Fell, there is an argument that Fell is pretty strong.
Yeah, because if you think about it, if you're going against a deck that in turn 2 in standard can be a problem, in turn 2 you can stop the problem in a way, or at least have a way to give you maybe another turn to be able to breathe if the card does not have haste. And as well as destroy target creature, so the range is everywhere. So it doesn't have to be a deck that is bothering you in turn 2. It could be a deck that probably has a creature that needs at least one turn to be able to do its thing, hey, I will use fell. Boom. Fell on target on your creature. And you destroy your opponent's strategy out of the blue. This might be this is a
Well, I
uncommon
don't
that at least one has to pay attention.
I don't think it's out of the blue because it's sorcery speed, and that's my problem with it.
No, and that's why my in my argument I say if it's a creature that does not have haste, if it's a creature that needs a whole turn to be able to do its thing, you have a chance to destroy that creature before it does its thing, unless there is something that gives haste to the creature, and then you're donzo, you're gone, you fell on the abyss. Okay, so we have a squirrel, not a lord, but we do have a squirrel lord that provides menace to squirrels, and if you sacrifice one or more food, you get a squirrel. Oh wait, Courage puts a 1+ on each other squirrel you control. Oh, for 3 mana. Wow.
There's another like card that cares about foraging. And that's the one I'm interested in talking about. Um, the Glarb is interesting.
Glarb.
Yeah, Glarb. So Glarb Calamity's Augur, black, blue, and green for a legendary creature frog wizard noble. He has Death Touch. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play land cards and spells with mana value 4 or greater from the top of your library. Tap 2, Surveil 2. So another card that cares about mana value 4 or greater.
Yep.
That's interesting because of the tap 2, Surveil 2, I guess. You could slot in the murders at Karlov Manor face commander of Mirko and reanimate stuff because of Surveil. That's interesting, I guess. I've been recently looking at blue, black, and green combinations for legendary creatures, and a lot of them are kind of lackluster. So this is just kind of interesting. It's big stuff, land stuff, and do stuff with those things. But I'm not sure. I'm not totally convinced. Maybe I'm just being a bit overcritical, but
I'm actually interested.
Very cool. It seems very cool, but at the same time, kind of lackluster. I don't know if
I'm actually interested. Being the fact that these are colors that I don't play, I'm actually interested in the card. To be played as a commander. It looks kind of like fun. It
It
looks
has a
like
lot of
fun.
versatility. I
Yeah.
mean, JP mentioned something interesting, which was the mana value 4 or greater. So that implies this set, and it hasn't been revealed that much, but apparently this set is going to have a lot of beefy, expensive spells. They're going to justify a lot of the cards that we've already been seeing. So that's kind of cool. I like that it's Surveil 2. So, like JP said, you can just stick it this. You can make it a reanimator deck because anything you're gonna like surveil, you're gonna get back anyway. So that's kind of cool. There's a lot of versatility in terms of being able to look at the top library. You can play extra lands if you do like the whole extra lands thing. There's a lot of stuff you can do with this. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I dig it a lot. Like it's just
I dig it.
Like JP said, it's just 4 mana or more expensive spell tribal deck.
I dig it. I just like it. I think this.
You could go like turn 1 elf, turn 2 this, play a land from the top, or then turn 3 play a land from the top and start trying to filter through your deck. After by turn 3, because you have 3 lands and an elf. If you happen to have something that's 4 mana from the top, you could do something like that. Or just tap a Surveil, try to fix your mana, or fix the top of your deck to try to cast something. You care about the top of the deck, so you can play Counterbalance. That's a
right.
card.
Wow, that's true.
Like it's interesting. It is interesting. I'm just being overly critical about it because it doesn't do like it. I feel like it's very basic in what it wants to do, but interesting.
Yeah, I get it. But I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. Probably my next commander. I don't know. Let's see. We have a couple of like uncommons here, and then we have Phineas, Ace Archer.
Phineas?
Phineas. I think you said it better than me. Phineas. Ace Archer. Is a green and white legendary creature, rabbit archer, vigilance and reach. 2/2. That's a next the upcoming ability is whenever finesse, so Phineas, my bad. Phineas Ace Archer attacks, put a 1/1 counter on each other creature you control that's a token or a rabbit. Then if creatures you control have a total power 10 or greater, draw a card. This seems very simple. Like it's not wowing me a lot. But what the thing is that does this trigger every time that you like get a new token, or
I guess it resolves after you do the attack. I don't know. Like this is it's cute, but it feels like you're gonna take a long time before you get to that ability.
Yeah. Maybe it works in standard.
Maybe you stick it in rabbits and have fun with the rabbits.
Yeah, because there is a sorcery that's called Hop to It that creates 3 rabbit tokens.
What I did notice is that for every color combination, every 2 color combination, they're like strictly attached to a type of critter, if you will.
Yeah.
So you have like the birds. Obviously, the birds are going to be Azorius because they freaking fly.
Yeah.
And then you have stuff like the rabbits is Celestia.
Yeah.
And then squirrels are Gruul. I mean, not Gruul. That's not Gruul of. I forgot the name. Golgari.
Which it's an interesting concept because squirrels, because of Shatterfang, they were kind of like stuck into the Golgari design space, and I guess they're trying to do the same thing now with all these different critters because the otters are strictly Izzet, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it, and then badgers are Gruul.
Raccoons are supposed to be the.
Oh, raccoons.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So let's moving forward. These are a couple of the uncommons and commons.
The Castrol
Castrol, the wind crested.
3 white and a blue for a legendary creature, bird scout, flying. Whenever one or more birds you control deal combat damage to a player, choose one. You may put a bird creature card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield with a finality counter. Put a +1/+1 counter on each bird you control, draw a card. This card is actually busted, but it's so niche for such a niche tribe that it's fair. And a bit of like decent, like it's fairly costed. 5 mana, 4/5 flyer with like if you hit 3 people, like let's say you hit 3 people, you could draw a card, draw a card. You could cheat something into play or buff your team. This does everything you want in what a niche tribe cares about. Because I was talking about this with a few friends, how niche tribes need very, very strong commanders in order to carry the niche tribe into something that's viable. And even though there's a lot of bird support, believe it or not, in a lot of older sets, they don't have anything that gives it that oomph that modern Magic requires.
Okay. It's interesting. I really do like the fact that, you know, it's bird, it centralizes on birds. So I do like the fact that sometimes Wizard of the Coast wants to go ahead and like make these cards like that. People that are interested in like doing tribal decks, they have a chance to like do like proper, not proper, but at least a better tribal deck of whatever creature type they're looking for. It looks fun.
So I think the bird one would be one of the easier ones to build because there's already been like a plethora of birds throughout Magic's
Mhm.
history. Same with squirrels, obviously. So those
Yeah.
would be kind of easy to build around. The other ones are going to be very reliant on Bloomborough and seeing how viable they might be
Well, the
for
other one
people.
would be bears because bears they have a
True.
couple of bears in Bloomborough, so there's already good commander for bears. But
But yeah, to
and
JP's point,
yeah.
yeah, I totally agree. It's great. It's very powerful, but thankfully it's limited to its niche, which is birds. But the versatility that Azorius card has is very cool.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Okay.
So we can talk about Kidnap because Kidnap introduces another mechanic, which is gift a card. So I'll go quickly. It's an enchantment aura, 2 colorless and 2 blue. Enchantment, gift a card. You may promise an opponent a gift as you cast a spell. If you do, when it enters, they draw a card. Enchant creature. When Kidnap enters, tap enchanted creature. If the gift wasn't promised, put 3 stun counters on it. You control enchanted creature. So people say it's like a bad control magic, but it's standard. So you can't expect it to actually print control magic because that will be kind
Mm-hmm.
of busted. So it's a cute mechanic. The idea of gifting a card or gifting something because it's not usually a card. It can be other things. You can gift a creature. You can gift whatever. So it's very flavorful, I guess, for Bloomborough to like gift stuff because you're trying to be cuddly and cute and whatever. You're being friendly with your opponents, and that's kind of interesting. It's just cool nerfed control magic. I don't know
Well,
if it'll play, but
this is cool control, nerfed control magic. But there's a green gift card that's actually busted. And
Oh
we'll see
yes, the
it.
one that removes. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we can go to that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree.
Yeah, we'll
First,
get to that.
Maha, it's
Maha.
feathers knights. It's feathers knights. 3 black black for a legendary creature elemental bird. Flying trample, ward, discard a card. Creatures your opponent control have base toughness 1. And it's a 6/5. So it's a 5 mana 6/5 flying trample with ward. The ward is easily like it's just discard a card, but it also has it lowers the toughness.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure Massacre Girl came out in Murders at Cardinal Manor, and that gives your creatures Wither. Wither deals damage to creatures in the form of -1/-1 counters. So that feels like it's something that can combo with this.
Jesus. Yeah. Yeah. This is a very scary card. You can
Yeah,
even use like for instance Toxic Deluge taking away 1 life and board wipe your opponent's whole shebang. It's interesting. It's really interesting. It sounds like it sounds like a card for fun. It's a fun card.
it might be like a standard playable card, especially because
Mm-hmm.
it's like at the baseline of 5 mana flyers that
Exactly.
Wizards usually prints. But this one, if there's like JP said, if there's like a Massacre Girl esque effect in standard or in this set or in the next one or in the
I mean,
Dustborn,
there is
There is.
the Murders of the Cardinal Manor. The Wither gives Wither to all your creatures.
true. So there you go. So that's what I'm saying. So you can just wipe out the board in one
Mm-hmm.
swoop.
And she also cares about creatures with 1 toughness dying to draw cards.
Exactly.
Wow. Broken.
Lily Splash Mentor. Yeah,
Yeah, that one's got good.
next to
That one's
Maha.
not good. Yeah, it's down.
Next to Maha. Oh, this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, people are talking about that because it's an uncommon version in blue green for MEL. So now those CDH decks like Rograk Thrasios that care about making infinite mana can make infinite mana with this and Dockside, and it's a 2-card combo. That's an easier way to do it. It's because it's 3 mana instead of the 4 mana that's usual for the Teamer Sabretooth line. Although
Exactly.
Teamer Sabretooth has additional utility.
Wow.
You can stick both in the deck.
Yeah, you can stick both in the deck. Correct.
Oh no, we broke Dockside. Woo!
Woo!
Okay.
Oh
We did
god.
it, you guys. We did it.
We did it again.
Next card I want to talk about at least is the Osteomancer Adept. But if you want to talk about
Moira's
Morva,
kind of fun. The trash tactician. I dig it. So okay,
Rocket.
because this one talks about the expend mechanic, which is the other mechanic.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, so Moira, Trash Mechanic, 1 colorless and Gruul colors, 2/4, legendary creature Raccoon Warrior. At the beginning of your first main phase, add red or green for each raccoon you control. Whenever you expend 4, you gain 3 life. You expend 4 as you spend your 4th total mana to cast spells during a turn. When you expend 8, which is like double that, so it'd be like you have to cast 8 mana worth of stuff, exile the top 2 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. It's kind of cool. It plays off the other card we
Yeah.
saw, the Badger guy, because it's kind of like playing with the whole thing about like top of the library stuff, casting stuff for free. They last until the end of your next turn. So clearly, Gruul is kind
Oh.
of going for that design space, and yeah, it could be
But
like
think
it's
about
cool.
it. In standard, it makes sense because if you do a red green raccoon deck, right? And you go ahead and let's say that you have a couple of raccoons and you can cast this for 8, so you have 4 mana for and X is equals to 4. You can go ahead and exile a total of 6 cards because it'll be the 4 of the X and the
The
and the
two
2 of the expand. So you see 6 cards. Out of those 6 cards, it is standard. So probably 3 of them will be lands. So you can play another. You can play
both
those, and
lands, two
you can
lands.
play both lands, and and you will still have at least 2 of them. Will be if you have a way. I don't think so that you would have a way in these colors to see to fix your the top of your deck. But if you have a way to like, hey, so I'm gonna trigger this Moira first, exiling these 2 cards so that I can play them the next, still have a chance to play them next turn, and then I'll do the exile the other 4. Then you have a way to like, play maybe a stronger card or a win card, and next turn obviously have a bunch of mana. Just this is just me thinking how the meta would play, obviously depending on what other support of raccoons we see in this set. That'll
Yeah, it
be another
depends on
thing.
that. And then,
Yeah.
but it's cool because there's a lot of impulse draws and a lot of impulse ramp, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there's Osteomancer Adept. And one, I like the name. It's just a weird. It feels like a old school type name. I'm thinking Ophiomancer. So this is an Osteomancer Adept. 1 and a black for a creature Squirrel Warlock. With that touch, it's a 2/2, and you can tap it. And until end of turn, you may cast creature spells from your graveyard by foraging, in addition to paying their other costs. If you cast a spell this way, that creature enters the battlefield with a finality counter on it. So it's a black Underworld Breach in terms
Exactly.
of what it wants to do, except you can't repeat the creature because if it dies again, it becomes exiled because of the finality counter.
I bet Wizards was like saying, guys, let's not print Underworld Breach again. Let's do something like much safer. And then they made this.
The cool thing about foraging is you can just sacrifice a food instead of the exiling the 3 other cards.
Correct.
So this is foraging is directly influenced by how Underworld Breach works. I find this interesting because they've tried to do Yawgmoth's Will in different ways, and this is like the 4th proper way that feels good. Like Yawgmoth's Will, then we have Magus of the Will, then we have Underworld Breach with it, which is arguably a better Yawgmoth's Will, and then we have this, which is a better Magus of the Will, but is it better than the Yawgmoth's Will? I'm not sure. This only cares about creatures,
Yeah.
so it might not be the best.
But the benefit that this card has is that if it sticks, you get to do it next turn, or you get to do it in the opponent's turn. You get to there's a lot of possibilities with this because you can keep doing this every turn. It's not like Underworld; it lasts that turn. You got to go off that turn. This thing can just it has to stick in the board for a turn. That's the only problem it has. But if you manage to do it, and the opponent is stupid enough to let you have this stay for one turn, you can kind of go off and then doing the other turn and the other turn. I know that the finality counter is the problem, but being able to cast stuff by just foraging, which is such a low cost because it's essentially Underworld Breach or sacrificing a food. And in Squirrels, probably, or in this set in general, probably there's ways to make food. And if not, throughout Magic's history, you can make a lot of food. So.
The old Drain set cares about making food as well.
Exactly. Lord of the Rings too. Lord of the Rings cares about
my problem, at least with my personal token deck that cares about food. Food is such an important resource for that deck that I never want to be sacrificing them unless I want to be activating my commander. So for the most part, I feel like I'm personally gonna pass on this, but I really like it.
There is a way that you can go ahead and untap this because you can play Intruder Alarm. If you play blue-green, when the creature enters the battlefield with a finality counter, you can untap the cards. I think it's Intruder Alarm. Is it Intruder Alarm? Yeah.
I mean, but this just gives the ability to cast Forage until end of turn. So you just tap this and everything in your deck is like in your graveyard can cast.
Oh, okay. I thought that you had to tap it to be able to. Okay.
It's
so
not
it's
just once.
okay. Now, okay.
It's like,
so
for the rest
ignore what I just said. Oh God. We have a couple of uncommons again. We have Rao. This was one of the cards that were leaked, like literally leaked. But now we have it here. Here with all of its wits. Rao Crackling Wit. That's a beautiful. I'm not gonna lie. These showcase cards, I love them. They look beautiful.
There's a cycle, the seasons cycle. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that this is what you mentioned, Orengo, the whole thing of the having cards that are high cost because that's like the theme. I think that these are the cards that probably in standard one will be using a lot. So I'm gonna read Season of Loss. So Season of Loss is a sorcery that costs 3 and 2 black. Choose up to 5. I would say that these are footprints worth of modes. You may choose the same mode more than once. So for one footprint, so you can depending on
how the resource.
No, because I think it says already choose. It says already choose up to 5. So you choose how many times you want to do it. So I think that you.
So it's very confusing. Yeah, it's very confusing because I thought there was another card that allowed you to have resources of footprints, but it's just a quirky way of saying it's a modal card.
Okay. So we still need resources, or this card provides you the resources?
No, it's like literally a modal card. It's like when you play I forgot the blue
one.
Like
Cryptic Command?
Yeah, it's like a Cryptic Command.
So you get 5 of that. So I can do each player sacrifices a creature, draw a card for each creature you control that died this turn, draw a card for each creature that you control that died this turn. Right?
Yeah. Exactly. You can be like,
or I can make each player sacrifice 3 creatures and then I draw a card for each creature.
Exactly. Or you can be like, I need a board wipe. So each player sacrifices a creature. You sacrifice 5 creatures. I had no creatures. I need a board wipe for 5 mana. There's a lot of versatility with this.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it. I like it because I like it for the fact because being the fact that I'm playing Davros a little bit much more, so I'm looking for cards that do take away life. Being the fact that I can do 2 of these Each player sacrifices 2 creatures, and then I can do this. It's really nice. It's really interesting, even though it's not Davros number that I need 3, but still, if there is a way that I can do this and have like before doing this, I already have like in the sacrifice counter at least one. It's fun because then I have the whole like, okay, so you guys will sacrifice 2 more creatures, and then each opponent loses X life, where X is the number of creature cards. Oh wait, it's in my graveyard. Okay, so yeah, I again had to follow what the prof says. Reading the card explains the card. I read this incorrectly. So still I like it because if I have 3 creatures, I can do this mode once and then make my opponent sacrifice 2 creatures. So
Yeah,
if I
and I
have
think it's sort
3,
of like
I can
free.
activate.
Yeah,
Yeah, if I already have 3 creatures in graveyard, Davros will activate three
yeah,
times
yeah.
in the end step. So yeah, I now reading the card makes it
Explain the card.
more
Yeah.
exactly explains the card. So I like it. It's a
And
card that I will like to have.
obviously, like the card is in order, so it's like Spree. So people were confused
Hmm.
about Spree, but you go in order with Spree. This would be exactly the same thing. I'm assuming that you go in order based on the way.
Every single multi modal card that has multiple choices
Yeah,
will always go in order.
exactly. So yeah,
Okay, Season of Bold. Who's gonna take this one?
Uh, I'll do it. So,
sure. Okay.
Season of the Bold. 3 red sorcery. Choose up to 5. What's that little? It's power worth.
It's like a paw. Yeah,
All worth of
Yeah.
modes. You may choose the same mode more than once. So 1, tap create a tapped treasure token. 2, exile the top 2 cards of your library until the turn your next turn. You may play them. Or 3, until the end of your next turn, whenever you cast a spell, Season of the Bold deals 2 damage to up to 1 target creature. And that's actually quite interesting because the
Wow.
sorcery
yes.
is the thing that's dealing the damage.
Yep. I don't even know how that works when it's in the graveyard. I guess it triggers. I
Yeah.
don't even. Yeah. It's so odd, right? It's until the end of your next turn. It's so odd. It's not.
Yes,
That's odd.
it is odd.
Yeah, it's very odd.
It is odd. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. I mean, I wish. Well, it'd be broken, but I wish it didn't say tap treasures. But I guess it'd be more.
It will be
powerful.
it will be broken. It will be too broken.
You know what I would do if it literally was untapped? I'd be like, okay, I cast this. I create 5 treasures. I cast something else.
Hmm. I like it because this is me just thinking about other commander decks. So I would create a tap token,
Yeah.
treasure token, and I'll exile 4 cards,
Oh, for sure.
and
Pretty cool,
then the War Doctor will see the 4 cards, and he has 4 time counters.
Exactly. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. There's a lot of versatility. I dig the versatility for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I hope that all of them have
Yeah.
versatility. So Orengo, this is you. This is all you,
okay.
Blue.
I hate that it's 6 mana, so we're already being I guess racist against the blue players. So it's 4 colors and 2 blue for a sorcery. Should have been an instant. If it's gonna be 6 mana, you should have been making an instant. But okay. Choose up to 5, I guess, footprints worth of modes. You may choose the same mode more than once. 1 footprint draws you a card. 2 footprints choose an artifact or creature you control. Create a token that's a copy of it. 3 footprints return each non-land, non-token permanent to his owner's hand. So that's why it's 6 mana. But I still argue you should have made it instant.
Yeah,
Go be cowards,
if
wizard.
you draw 5 cards. That's totally not broken.
That's fine. That's fine. It's okay.
And the thing is that this is the funny part. Orengo is arguing that it's 6 mana. If he put this in Urza, 6 mana is just a joke.
It's true, but I would never put this in Urza. I would lose. But I would put this in Mishra because get to make a copy of an artifact. That's pretty cool. And you can bounce stuff, so it's like each non-land, non-token permanent. So if you're like behind, it's a board wipe, and then you get to to draw 2 cards in a board wipe, or you get to copy a very important artifact or creature from your board and then board wipe. So I get why it's 6 mana. I get it, but make it an instant. It's okay.
Yeah,
it's blue. It's cute. I like the art too. The art's pretty.
Yeah, this one likes. I like
the art is pretty.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a couple more uncommons and commons. Obviously, for everybody that's going to be watching us, these are the cards that are going to be available in the promo packs. So if you
Yeah.
win a tournament, you will get a promo pack, and you will have a chance to get a non-foil or foil version, depending
Which
on your
also
standing.
that same card, that's just a strictly better Goblin Electromancer.
Exactly, because it
Yeah.
has haste and
His
prowess.
prowess
Yup.
and the cost reduction that normally has. That's actually really strong.
This is what we call power creep, guys.
Yeah, power creep.
Yeah, we
Insane
have a
power.
bird knight that is first strike, double strike, vigilance, flying. It's 3-drop. I
That
like
feels
it.
strong for limited. I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe I'm wrong. But,
Pump it with some enchantments or +1
and you're gonna go
counters. Yeah.
crazy. You're gonna go crazy, yeah.
So we
Well,
Well,
have
you don't need to
a
pump it because that's a bird, right? So you can
yeah,
just
it's a
stick it in
bird.
if you do like bird tribal and limited, you can
Yeah.
boost it probably.
Mhm.
The 3-tree city is really strong.
Yes, really strong.
Yes, we have this is a mana dork that has offspring.
Yes, so you get to
Possum.
make 2 mana dorks.
We have another mana dork that it's squirrel.
Yeah.
Squirrel.
I'm actually, I mentioned that I really food is a very precious resource in my commander deck,
Yeah.
but tapping to sacrifice a food and make 2 mana, but also being able to pay 4 mana and look for Chatterfang is actually decently worth it.
But is Shatterfang in standard or is it just gonna be in the commanders?
No, Chatterfang will be in commander only.
In the
Exactly.
commander
So
only,
so you would just tutor, I guess, something else. Because,
yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine that this squirrel would search, like, for instance, any of the two, like either the squirrel warlock.
You're probably gonna only run
Okay.
an Osteomancer. You're gonna
And-
run maybe
Yeah.
1.
And you can run. We can look for this one.
Camellia, yeah, the Seed Meister is
Camellia.
actually, yeah.
I'm convinced, guys. I'm making a squirrel deck.
Yo, if in standard they make a squirrel, I'm gonna build it for arena.
Right?
I like
Yeah.
squirrels.
This would be fun. Yeah.
That was gonna be fun. So let's talk about the three tree city, and they are doing the same treatment that they did for
The lands.
Mana Crypt,
Yeah.
and
No,
for Cavern of Souls.
I mean, yes, but also no. It's the lands. Because this is the seasons.
The seasons, yeah.
No,
So it's
yeah,
4
but-
versions of them.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
that's why
because
I'm
they
saying.
they want you to collect them all type of
Exactly.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
It's
you
very
have
pretty,
your
though.
normal, and then you have the other seasons.
The concept's kind
here.
of cool. The concept.
Yeah, the concept is kind of cool. So 3 Tree City, it's a legendary land. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type.
Yep.
It taps for colorless, or you can pay 2 colorless, tap it and choose a color, add an amount of mana of that color equal to the number of creatures you control of the chosen type. So this is basically a
It's Nick's Bloom. Yeah,
it's exactly, yeah.
but just fixed because
Mhm.
it's not devotion, which would have been more strong. But
Exactly.
yeah, but it's still like especially for this type of standard set, which cares a lot about the creature types because everyone's
Mhm.
kind of relegated to 2 color combinations. This is gonna be like an auto include in a lot of those decks if they start seeing standard play. It all depends on how strong they are. It all depends. Like I don't know how strong they're all going to be, but we have to see the other cards. But in theory, this is very, very good. And
Yeah,
I don't know, like
this is very good even in Commander. If you
oh
think
no,
about
this is for any tribal deck. This is gonna be an
Yeah.
auto include because this is an additional Nyx Bloom. Nyx.
Nixos.
Yeah, Nixos. Sorry, Nixos.
Yeah,
This one is
Nixos.
the other thing.
Nick those.
Yeah.
Yeah, because as well, this is another another card that if you don't have the budget to buy like Gaia's Cradle, there you go.
Or if you don't have the budget to buy Nixos, this is the
Yeah,
one
Nick
for
those.
you.
Yeah, but isn't Nick those like at this price range as well, $50?
Yeah.
But that's why. But that's what this one is gonna drop like a well,
Yeah.
sort of is gonna drop. It's probably gonna be like maybe like a $10 or $15 rare. But yeah, thankfully it's
That's
rare.
That next card is actually quite important.
Yes, interesting.
Which
yes.
one?
That one.
This one?
The Otter Wizard.
Oh, the Otter Wizard.
Yeah, Thunder Trap Trainer, 1 in a blue creature Otter Wizard, offspring 4. But when this creature enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a non-creature, non-land card from among them and put it in your hand. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. This back when Augur of Bolus
Mhm.
was in standard, it was a mainstay staple because it would
Mhm.
8 times out of 10 would draw you a card.
Mhm.
This looks at the top 4 cards, so it's 1 card deeper. In
Mhm.
addition, it's just non-creature, so it could just get you an artifact, an enchantment, and not just an instant or sorcery like Augur of Bolus did.
Yeah.
In addition to that, Offspring 4 gives this late game value. So early game you can play this and get a card. Late game you can Offspring it and it's a 2-for-1. This is very good, and I'm really sure this is just gonna see play.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely gonna see play. In addition to that, it's gonna be very good. I don't think this is gonna be very expensive. It's just a very solid card.
Mhm.
It doesn't do anything broken. It's just always gonna be good.
Mhm.
Yep.
I
Agreed.
agree. I agree. Okay. Any other cards that you guys would like to talk about here?
There's the Valley Quest Caller, which is interesting because that one kind of cares about other stuff.
Oh wait, the
That's
white
rock
one.
collar.
The rock collar, sorry, yeah, the quest color. So it's a rabbit
Rabbit!
warrior, colorless, and a white for a 2/3. Whenever one or more other rabbits, bats, birds, and or mice you control enter, scry 1. Other rabbits, bats, birds, and mice you control gets +1/+1. So this is they're all banding together
Yeah.
to destroy the other tribe of critters. But if you wanted to build I guess a 5-color critter deck, now is your chance. Or it's just generically good because it's already aggressively costed at being a 2-mana 2/3. And sure, it gives other creatures the anthem ability, but it's an anthem on a 2/3. And you
Mhm.
get to scry too, which is kind of good too. I don't know, like this one, you can kind of stick it in those type of tribes, and you can probably do a lot of things.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it because again, when this set is fully previewed, we will know if the metagame will change. Even though I isn't when this set comes out, there's a couple of sets that are leaving standard, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so the metagame will change
Because
very
they
drastically.
just do 3 years, and now the 3 years are up. That's why Foundations is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So here is the next squirrel, another squirrel, Valley Rot Collar.
Mhm.
Is 1 in the black creature squirrel warlock with menace, and whenever Valley Rot Collar attacks, each opponent loses X life, and you gain X life, where X is the number of other squirrels, bat, lizards, and rats you control,
And there you
and it's a
go.
1/3.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the other one on the other side. So
So
the ones that share
we're gonna come back to those times that tribal decks are going to be the metagame.
like Ixalan and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other cards that you guys want to touch?
The green one, it's
bases?
right there. It's Wear Down.
Wear
So
Down.
Wear Down, it says gift a card. It's okay. It's a colorless and green. Gift a card. You may promise an opponent a gift as you cast the spell. If you do, they draw a card before its other effects. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. So on a baseline, it's really good. If the gift was promised, instead destroy 2 target artifacts and or enchantments. It's really strong. So JP talked about this card when we were talking about the gift mechanic. Like you're giving the opponent a card, fine. You're destroying 2 cards for 1 mana. And sure, it kind of still balances out because they get to draw a card, but you get to remove 2 important things. So yeah.
Yeah,
really
you can remove, for instance, you can remove an Esper Sentinel.
Sure.
You can remove a Ristic Study, Smothering Tithe.
Yeah.
You can remove Orengo's Winter Orb.
True.
I say, hey John, you draw a card. Orengo, blow both of your artifacts.
Yes.
So interesting enough, it says as you cast a spell, and it says that you have to do the gift before anything resolves. So if I counter it, do I still get the gift?
No.
So it's not like an Eldrazi triggered ability type of thing, right?
No. Yeah.
Okay.
It's basically politics on a card before.
Yeah. But it's not like an Eldrazi trigger type of thing.
No, it's not a cast. It's not a like the trigger. It has if I'm mistaken, as you cast the spell.
Yeah.
Is a cast trigger. The gift is a cast trigger, but it's a delayed trigger that only resolves when the card resolves.
And that's why the second sentence is there if you do the draw
Mhm.
card before its other effects, because it's implying that it'll only resolve if it gets to do the other effects. If not, nothing happens. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
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 I want to talk about Igra. So Igra,
Oh,
Eater of
Eater.
All,
Yeah. He's
three
in
and
the
a
trailer.
3 black and green for a legendary creature elemental cat. As ward, sacrifice a food. Other creatures you control. Other creatures. No, not other creatures you control. Other
No
creatures
Yeah.
are food artifacts in addition to their other types and have 2 mana. Tap, sacrifice this permanent. You gain 3 life.
Mhm.
Whenever a food is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put 2+1 counters on Igra, Eater of All.
Yeah.
So that wear down becomes a 2 mana. You make your opponent draw a card, destroy 2 of his creatures.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Igra also, funnily enough, in the Reddit comments, it might be wrong, but I find if it is true, then I find it funny. Igra is game in Russian.
Okay.
So the cat is literally playing with its food.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny. It's
That's
perfect.
good flavor.
It's funny.
That's good flavor.
It's
Yeah.
good flavor.
Yeah.
Also, the ward sacrifice of food is very well designed since it already makes the your other creatures into artifacts and that are food in addition. So instead of saying a ward sacrifice a creature, sacrifice of food is very, very well designed for this.
Yes.
People already discovered an infinite combo. You play this and 2 Cauldron Familiars, and then they eat each other infinitely because you sacrifice one Cauldron Familiar that's a food to bring back the other, and then vice versa, and you keep bringing them back. And people are brewing a deck trying to call it cat food
Haha.
or catnip, something like that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Because
fun.
it's elemental cats and Cauldron Familiar, which happens to be a cat.
Yeah, that's true.
So
That's funny.
if that deck becomes a thing, I'm interested. Maybe even making it. Other than that, the Eager is just really cool.
Yeah.
I do want to see the lands here.
Yes, the lands are very
Yeah, but I wanna
it's
talk
one for
about
each.
one card
Yeah, okay.
before we go to lands. So Warren War Leader, 2 and 2 white. Creature Rabbit Knight has offspring 2. Whenever you attack, choose 1. You can either create a 1/1 white rabbit creature token that's tapped and attacking, or you can all of your attacking creatures you control get +1/+1.
It's a reference to the
Seeing-
other, right? The cat one, right? It's like
I
a
think
reference to
so.
that.
I think so. For at least for what I'm seeing here,
Yeah.
this is going to be, depending on what other cards we see in white. I already think that there's already one deck that's going to be renowned in, not in the meta, but it will be a deck that people might build, is mono white rabbits.
Yeah, weenies. Yeah.
Weenies. Yeah, I think that this is for a weenie deck, or again, if they want to do the whole, tribal thing, combine white with any of the other colors. It's nice because, again, seeing the combinations, how they go, and seeing, like, for instance here, Rat Wizard, and seeing other cards having other creature types that go ahead and add more to, like, this Valley of the Quest Caller, add more to War and War Leader. You know why I like this? Because when mono white weenies was a thing back in Dominaria, this would be the play, but the Lord was 3 mana.
Yeah.
That was Benelish Marshall, if I'm not
Benedict
mistaken.
Marshall, the anthem. Yeah.
Yeah, the anthem. And in this case, your anthem is a 2-drop that's 2/3, so it's pretty strong. And then your 4-drop is your, what you can call your finisher, because you can make a copy of it with offspring too, paying the offspring's price. So obviously it will be 6 mana, but still, and the in curve is a good card. If you want to, obviously, when you get to that point of having more than 6 mana, then you can, I drew War and War Leader, I'll create another one. So yeah, I really do like the set. I'm very intrigued. I'm very intrigued on the set. So you guys wanted to talk about the lands?
I just want to look at them because they're beautiful,
They're beautiful
Yes.
and
lands.
it's just the different types.
Seasons.
Seasons.
Mountains had raccoons. The forests have the little rabbit.
Yeah.
The island have the little frog. The plains have mice. And I'm not sure if is the black one weasels or lizards. I think those are lizards.
They look like lizards. Yeah,
I
like a
think
little
that
lizard
I
boy.
think it's a weasel. Let's see
Like
if
a
we
little
can.
lizard boy.
I think because weasels are white, so and lizards
Like a
are
little
red
froggy?
black.
Maybe
I
like
think
a
that's a
froggy?
frog.
Froggy
No,
or a lizard?
And frogs are the island.
True, but then it's a lizard.
And
I
it
think
has to
it's
be a
a yeah.
lizard.
It has to
It
be a
has to be a
lizard. Yeah.
lizard because lizards are red black in the set.
Yeah.
Uh,
They're
other
beautiful.
than
The thing
that,
is that in 3 of the lands, it's wearing like a hat, and then in 2 of the lands, and this one, it's wearing like a leaf.
Yeah, because of the sun, the sun.
Yeah.
I don't know.
there's 2 cards I want to talk about.
The
Now,
Clements,
but
because he's cool.
no, it's further up. But
Okay.
Further up.
You want to talk about Clement?
We can briefly touch upon it. It's just cool rare. So Clement, the worry word, colorless and simic colors, legendary creature for a druid. It's a vigilance 3/3. Whenever Clement, the worry word, or another creature you control enters the battlefield, return up to 1 target creature you control with lesser mana value to its owner's hands. Frogs you control have tap, add green or blue. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells. So just value. Just I don't know, like stick it in a deck where you kind of like go off by bouncing your creatures and recasting them. He makes all your little froggies into mana dorks. That's fun.
Okay, we're gonna go up.
Yep.
JB, tell me when to stop.
Iridescent Vine Slasher.
Yeah.
Iridescent.
1 mana,
Oh,
1/2 offspring 2. Whenever a land you control enters the battlefield, this creature deals 1 damage to target opponent.
Yeah, that's crazy.
This
That
is
is
crazy.
crazy.
This is crazy. This is so good. In fact, it's so good that it made me want to make the Zimon and Dino deck again.
Oh
It's
yeah.
that good.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
was also thinking that it's an outlaw that commits
Mhm.
crimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it
And
has
it's an
synergy with the
easy
past
cri-
sets.
Yeah, it's an easy crime to commit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
I agree.
very, very relevant.
Yeah.
And the next card is the Elemental Cat.
The
Mhm.
elemental cat. Here we go.
Yeah, that one. Just
Suspine Links.
Yeah.
2 red for creature elemental cat. Players can't gain life. Damage can't be prevented. And when it enters, it deals damage to each player equal to the number of non-basic land that player controls.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to play 4-color stuff, you play this
Yep.
against that 4-color stuff.
You do a
and they
bunch
take
of damage.
Exactly.
Yep. A bunch of damage.
A
It
lot
kind
of
of
the
rewards
mods.
you for playing basically mono red. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really good.
these are the cards. Yeah. Is there any other cards you guys wanted to talk about? Even though we're in the cards that were spoiled today.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was going to talk about the suspend links too. I don't know. Go down a little bit, just a tiny bit, just a tiny smidges bit. Let me see the Heart Fire Hero. Is that like a is that a rare? No, it's
No,
an
that's a
uncommon.
common.
What does that say?
Uncommon.
Valiant. Whenever Heartfire Hero becomes a target of spell ability you control for the first time each turn, put a 1/1 counter on it. When he dies, it deals damage equal to the part each one. I can see the makings of a mono red.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see the makings.
Yeah.
This obviously doesn't have haste, but be able to like kind of give it +1/+1 counters by casting burn spells, or
Yeah,
casting stuff. No, I'm sorry, you need to cast stuff on it. But yeah, there could be something
Yeah.
interesting there. I don't know. Yeah.
No, yeah, there actually look. There's one here. Valley Rally. Oh well, it's creatures you control, so it's a general. It's a general.
No,
yeah,
but
it
then
wouldn't
if
work.
the gift was promised, then you put a exactly you give.
Oh,
if the
if
gift
you
was
get
promised,
target creature you control,
against first strike also. So
and they get a food token only.
they get a food token, which they're gonna need it after you hit them in the face.
Mhm. Yeah,
So yeah,
that is
there's
true.
cool stuff. Yeah,
There's
so
cool
that's
stuff.
it.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's it. That's literally it. So, guys,
Yeah.
Now that we have spoken about Bloomborough and that we're all in theme, so the video has not been released yet. It will be released this weekend. But me and Orengo, we played modern.
Yes.
We played modern. We chose two decks that were in the top. I was playing. I don't remember which one I was playing.
Boros energy.
Boros Energy, correct. I was playing
Yes.
Boros Energy, and Orengo was playing Bent Nadu.
Yes. Inefficient Bant Nadu, because my version had Thassa's Oracle, which if you
Yes,
guys saw the Pro Tour, there's no need for that because you can break it without it.
yes.
But yes.
So to give all of you a sense of it, so Bent Nadu is 9.7% of the meta. So that
Yeah.
means that there's a lot of players that are using this deck in particular.
Mhm,
Um, Obviously, is number one of the top five.
mhm.
So in that video, you'll see us playing these two decks. I chose Boros Energy because I it's really interesting to see these colors with energy, and it was a fun deck. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
it was really fun. But the outcome, you will see it in the video when it's released.
Yes. Yes.
So we're going to talk about the fact that Nadu, this card right here, this beautiful card, needs to be banned.
Yeah.
Okay. In my experience of playing versus Nadu, I am not going to lie. It needs to be banned. This card is stupidly broken. It's not only stupidly broken, the fact that even though you are so ahead in the game, your opponent can make the craziest comeback
Yes.
even though they're about to lose.
Yes.
So tell me guys your thoughts about the card and if it should be banned.
Uh,
Uh,
so the main problem with Naru is that it has Hogak win rate with eggs style play pattern. They've banned the Krark Ironworks and Second Sunrise for to basically make eggs a unplayable deck because it doesn't have any of the cards that it needs to win.
mhm.
Eggs, if you don't know, is a deck that revolved around playing a bunch of chromatic stars and chromatic sphere type effects, having a way to sacrifice them to draw cards, and then play a second sunrise type effect where you bring everything that was put into the graveyard from the battlefield into play, and you basically get this repeatable play pattern where you're drawing cards and making mana, but not doing much.
Mhm.
And Nadu basically, I equip, oh look, it's a land, I make tokens, I equip. Oh look, it's a land, I make tokens. Oh look, it's not a land, I draw a card. Oh look, and you never know when you're actually gonna get there. Eventually, the line is it's like the line is undeterministic because you don't know when you're gonna get there, but depending on the incremental value you get, eventually you're just gonna get there.
Yeah, mathematically you'll get there. Exactly. It's
Mhm.
it's it, it's certain threshold, but it takes a while to get to the threshold. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a famous there's a famous player, I forget their name, that when they were playing against eggs, they left, went to the bathroom, probably ate something, came back, and the eggs player still hadn't finished. And
Yeah.
people have recorded Naru games going on forever.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, I
Naru
when
has
we
a bad
recorded,
play pattern,
Hmm.
way too high of a win rate, and banning Shuko, which is what they did with Hogak.
Yeah.
They banned Bridge from Below from Hogak, and they were like, okay, with Bridge from Below, now the deck can work normally, and then they realized, wait, no, Bridge from Below is not strong enough. If I was not strong enough of a ban, Hogak is still dominating. Nadu is dominating even harder than Hogak.
Yeah.
Much like it's just super consistent and has that extra bad play pattern.
And it's
It's
very
it's
resilient.
like Shuko receiving a ban will only slow the deck down just the smidge because it still has a way to win without Shuko. You don't even they
Hmm.
don't a lot of the deck is banned Naru because you're running that one white card basically.
And that white card is the other would be the other option, and
Yeah,
it's searchable. So you ban
it's
Chuko.
play.
Sure, you take out, I guess, the Urza Sagas. They don't have a purpose anymore, but you still have. First of all, you have other artifacts that
So you make
Mm-hmm.
the mana better.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. I
Yeah, because I think that when in the game when you see the video, there's not like any spoilers or anything, but when Orengo was every time that he had a land, that deck list had so many fetch lands, and they didn't have that many fetchable lands per se.
yeah.
So he would be like, I'm in very low life. I can't fetch, but I need to fetch because I need to see if there's anything else that can help me out. So the other thing was that there was a lot of tap lands
Hmm.
that affected the game as well. So
What I realized by playing these games is that Dasa's Oracle was the problem, which then pro players also realized this because they're better than me, and that's why they didn't play it. And you'll see in our game that literally the problem that my deck was is that since it was reliant on Thassa's Oracle, I had to take account of my mana to make
hmm
sure I didn't screw my mana drops and stuff and be able to win. Because the reason why, slight spoilers, there's a game I do lose, but it's not because John won. It's because I lost. That's
yeah,
how bad Bant Nadu was. It was like like even for me, it was unbearable because I was just dirtling, and it's like JP said, it's undeterministic. I had to do it because I didn't know I was actually going to be able to win.
hmm
So it's a huge problem. Like JP also said, banning Shuko, trust me, it won't solve anything. It'll probably make the deck. It might even make the deck stronger because it will just hyper focus on the white card that JP was talking about, or perhaps equipments that equip for zero. So because there are other ones that equip for
hmm
zero, this is not the only one. It's the cheapest one, and it synergizes very well with Urza's Saga. But what you're going to do is you're going to make, like JP said, the mana base is going to be infinitely better because you're going to take out those Urza lands. You're just going to put like better mana bases, and you're just going to find a way to do the loop. And since the white creature is a creature, you can court of calling it. So you'll just dirtle for a while, get enough to be able to cast a creature, and then you'll just do the same thing as if Chuko was on the board.
Isn't
So
Elodarmi's called Modern Legal?
good question.
good
I'm
question.
not
I'm
sure.
pretty
I'll
sure it
check.
is.
You can check. If it is, then yeah, like you said, you have a tutor. You have a yeah.
Yeah, Modern Horizons, the
Yep.
original one.
There you go. So yeah, there you go.
That's an instant speed green white tutor with
Hmm.
oh look, you fix your better mana base and still have tutors.
Exactly. You'll have
hmm
more tutors because already quarter calling and he already plays summoners pack. So you
Yeah.
have already 8 tutors. You can have 12 tutors. You can the deck is really resilient. It's like JP said. That's what John said. Even when it seems like you're gonna lose, you can bounce back. The deck is very
Exactly.
resilient. There's many plays that the opponent won't be able to take account of. And John actually sideboarded correctly. But even when he sideboarded correctly, I still had the answers for all of his sideboard cards that would be
Yes.
detrimental to my game states. So it's ridiculous. Like it's crazy good.
Even in that same video, we do talk about how the cyborg could be better
Yeah.
for Boros energy.
And I think they probably like pro players probably made better sideboards than the
Y-
ones that we were playing with. But yeah.
You know, but if in any case, we will release that video during the weekend, like that you guys can see it beforehand, and me and Orengo we can talk and we can see we can find a new deck list for both decks, like that we can play them and play that same scenario once again, but obviously with
Yeah.
different decks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do agree that yeah, you can in at least in this format,
Mhm.
it should be banned.
It's even like JP said too, it just causes boring gameplay. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're just journaling, you're not doing anything. The last time I saw boring gameplay like this is when Nexus of Fate was legal.
Yeah,
Because
I
you
agree.
just keep looping the extra turns, fogging, extra turns, fogging, extra turns. Okay, I have this fairy down, so I kind of have a win condition, but not really because you still kind of have to loop and do stuff like this. And the way that you win now with the deck, since you don't have Thassa's Oracle anymore, is so complex that I saw like Seth explaining it. He did a video, he did a great video showcasing Bant Naru at its peak right now versus Hogak at its peak. The Bant
I mean,
Naru deck is not as strong as the Hogak deck, but the game that Seth did win, it took 20 minutes, and that's fast forwarding a lot of his plays to get to the win con because the win con is incredibly complex and it takes a lot more loops to try to win than it would normally take. You just have to explain the loop and be like, okay, mathematically, I will get to this loop, but if we play it, it's going to go over time. So it's insane. Like it poses so many problems having this card standard, like modern legal.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. I 100 completely agree. So, is there anything else that you guys would like to add in regards to banning the bird?
Ban the bird,
ban the
please.
bird.
It's crazy.
If you can't bolt the bird, you have to ban the bird.
Yep, and you can't bolt
Exactly.
it. That's the problem too. You can't bolt the damn bird.
Right. How power and toughness of Nadu? How is it?
It's a
3/4.
3/4. That's the problem too. Like they thought,
Jesus.
it's like I
Yes.
swear they thought of everything. They were like, okay, let's make it 3 mana, which is already a problem. It's a 3/4, so you can't like outright kill it quickly. And let's like make all this plethora of broken ass effects and forget the fact that Haru just gives it to every single creature, as opposed to it being just himself and that's it. Oh, and if you blink it, which that could be another line of play, if you blink it, you reset all the board again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
No, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
ban the bird.
Ban bird.
Ban it. Yep,
Yep.
I completely agree. Ban the bird. Oh God. So, is there anything else that you guys want to talk about? Either about Bloomborough or Nadu.
Nope.
I really want to see the secondary commanders for Bloomborough. I think
Mm.
those are usually very, very interesting and usually catch my eye more. Especially the Squirrel deck. See if it has anything that I might be interested in. The other thing is the Raccoon, because it says make trash, beat face, right? Or do smash, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the face commander seems to be doing the smash. I kind of want to see the raccoon make junk, like the or scrap. There's junk and scrap. Both of them are things that haven't been explored again.
Yeah.
Junk is from
Yeah.
the Fallout, and
Mhm.
scrap is from one like the Mishra deck from Brothers War.
Yeah.
Right, that's true.
So it'd be interesting if they explore those mechanics again. It'd be very, very interesting.
Yeah.
For me, I'm very intrigued for what the standard metagame is going to be. If there's like a weenie deck or a mono red deck or a squirrel deck, I think I would get back to playing MTG Arena ranked in standard. I play a lot of historic, but I would get back in standard to
Yeah.
see because this meta seems to be fun. Um and again, even though our MTG Arena is still such a pain to be able to get the cards that you need, but still, I think that with this new set, I think I would totally get into it and go through the ranks to see and be like, I don't remember his name, but he made a full video about how by mistake I became a Magic the Gathering pro player playing Arena. So yeah,
That's
I'm just
crazy.
excited. I'm really excited for this set. How about
Yeah.
you, Orengo?
I wasn't excited, I'll be honest. I wasn't, but it's cute. It all depends on how powerful it'll be for standard. I think there's a possibility that, like you said earlier, it'll be like a excellent type of standard now, where it's very reliant on creature tribes and kind of like mix and matching maybe. Um, for Commander though, this is like a boon for Commander players because obviously it's cute little critters. Wizards already knows that people love squirrels, so they're just capitalizing on cute little creatures and giving you tribes of all these other cute little creatures. So you make a bunch of cute little commanders, and they got me because I want to now. I want to make a Shatterfang now. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I completely agree. So, thanks for everybody that is watching this video. If you got to the end of the video, please comment below what would be your favorite card of Bloomborough, or if you are excited of building a commander from Bloomborough as well. Don't forget, if you have not yet subscribed, don't forget to subscribe. Hit that bell like they can get notified when our videos are live. Like we mentioned at the start, videos will be available every Monday and every Friday because we want to give you amazing content. Don't forget to as well follow us in TikTok, because in TikTok we post all of the everything and anything Magic the Gathering related is posted there. We do booster pack openings. We post all of the cards that are spoiled or previewed. We give our opinions on situations, and as well we do put clips of our podcast. So follow us on TikTok because we're growing and we want to keep growing and make a great community. There will be more announcements coming soon for Cardboard Cave. So round table, JP, where can the people find you?
You can find me here in the Cardboard Game Podcast, hopefully talking about more foolish fraud shenanigans that Chris will be doing eventually. How about you, Orengo? Where can they find you?
You guys can find me here talking about cute little critters and talking about all the decks that I'm brewing now because this gave me a bunch of cool ideas. You can also find me on Cinemas Podcast talking about movie reviews. I got the Kinds of Kindness review. Maxine is coming soon. I'm going to be recording tomorrow Longlegs, which is a new horror movie that's coming out by Neon. And that's it. But, John, where can the people find you?
So you guys can find me here in the Cardboard Cave podcast. I am a lot. If you guys comment on YouTube or in TikTok, it could be myself or Orengo answering your comments. So as well, you can follow me in Real In Films. I do movie reviews. I do interviews as well. We do have 2 interviews that are going to be coming up soon, and just pay attention as well to Cardboard Cave and Reeling Films for anything and everything fun, right? So we will see you all in the next one. Bye bye.